Yo, you guys might be wondering why I'm not in the corner videos right now, and that's because I'm on vacation. I'm in Australia right now. I'm gonna be here for a month. I'm at a drag strip right now. I wonder if these guys are gonna do a burnout. I'll just film them. I guess not. All right.
Obviously with the supercars and the win they had on the weekend, but also the G2 car that's been released overseas. There's going to be a massive step forward jumping into the G2 ranks without the Mustang.
Hey gamers, it's G from the corner, and today we're going to be checking out the Jackbox Party Pack 10, which released somewhat recently on all current gen systems. Now, I have not made this clear to any of you yet, but I love the Jackbox series. I first played the very first Jackbox Party Pack a number of years ago, thought it was whatever, didn't think much of it, but then I played Party Pack 6 at a New Year's party a bit around the time it released, and I was absolutely floored by it. I thought that the games were such unique party experiences, each pack containing their own distinct games to enjoy, and combined with these yearly quality releases, it feels like the modern day release of a Mario Party that, you know, I was never there for. This is high praise coming from myself. I also love Mario Party. That's another... These sound like nothing comments, but these mean a lot. If you know me, I love me some Mario Party. I love me some Jackbox, all right? And I would love to have the opportunity to talk about the other packs at some time, but for now, I'm going to give you all a review of the Jackbox Party Pack 10, you know, a celebration of the series, the 10th pack. I'm mainly going to be talking about the 5 games on their own, as just to be, you know, thorough as I possibly can. The games are all separate from each other. This isn't really a mini game collection, more so as it's advertised a pack of party games, you know. I will briefly, you know, right now touch upon other things. So, you know, you boot up the game and there's always, each pack has its own distinct menu with some theming. This one is kind of a throwback to the older games, which all had the same, like the first 2 games had this like similar looking wooden like living room backdrop, and you know they kind of do the same thing, but it's like kind of darker and there's a bit of light and there's a bunch of stuff in the background referencing the older games, and the characters are there playing the games. I think it's great. I actually like it. You know, usually I prefer when they have some more unique stuff going on, like Pack 8 had a bunch of cakes, Pack 7 had a bunch of parade floats, but I'm down with this. The games are also highly customizable. You know, one of the things you can do with Jackbox games very easily because of how they're played with your phones, it's another thing I should probably mention, the games are played by, you know, you boot up the game, you go into the game, and then everybody gets on their phones, goes on a URL, types in a code, and you're in the game. You play the game solely with your phone, no game controllers required, and you know, this has led to a lot of streaming, where, you know, people will live stream the game and then will allow people watching the stream to join. Even, you know, they have this audience feature where you could have like 10,000 people who aren't like playing the game, but they're still doing stuff that contributes to the score of the game. You know, they're still technically in the game, but not quite. And they have a bunch of options related to that, just like moderation, such and such. There's even a bunch of options like unrelated, obviously, like, you know, they added more languages in the more recent packs, which is very, very good. Subtitles, which is extremely useful. I don't think that was in the last few packs. We are always talking over each other while waiting to learn how to play the game in a new pack. So it's nice to have subtitles that we can just read when everybody's too busy shouting. There's also timer extension. A lot of the games you'll be making stuff and you'll be placed on a timer. They've added a feature where you can actually remove the timer altogether, and I think that's neat. We didn't use it when we played Pack 10, but you know, I think it's useful for people who are like, you know what, I want to try playing a drawing game where I'm not being forced to draw against the clock. I think it's kind of fun. I think it's kind of cool. But with that, let's get into the games themselves. I'm going to go in the order they are listed on the menu. First up, TKO 2. This is a sequel to one of the best drawing games the series has done. A lot of the games in the series, you know, usually one per pack, require the player to draw something onto their phone. You know, maybe most of the time it's just art. You know, it'll be like, draw funny art. and then we'll throw your art against the other player's art. TKO was always the most popular of these because the way it works was that people draw, you know, whatever they want. They type in a bunch of taglines, and then all those are shuffled and given to players, and they're supposed to mix and match to make their own apparel. In the original game, it was just shirts. In this game, you can make hoodies and tank tops as well. And you can even change fonts, colors, all sorts of things. You can actually buy the shirts as well. That's another cool thing about Jackbox. You can buy merch related to your game. And one of the things TKO lets you buy are shirts. You can buy the clothes that you make in the game in real life. And I think that's super cool. I love it, honestly. The fun of this game is pretty obvious to anybody watching. You draw a bunch of fun stuff, write a bunch of dumb quotes, and you and your friends just laugh at the absurdity. You know, the way the game works is that there's like a tournament style where the shirts will go up against each other, and you and your friends vote for which ones you think are funnier or better or whatever. But really, if you and your friends know how to make each other laugh, you're going to get a lot of fun out of this game. The original, in my opinion, wasn't the most polished, at least on Switch. There would be like actual lag if you got like a perfect win against the other player. The way the game worked was that you were able to draw like 2 or 3 drawings in the first round, but you know, they would time you on each individual drawing. So let's say you draw something, you don't submit it by the end of the timer. Oh well, you have to submit it like now, and that counts as your drawing until the timer resets. This game, they still do that, but you know, every time the timer ends, you aren't like forced into it. It's funny because I submitted a shirt thinking that was it. I had to submit that one like right then and there, otherwise I wasn't going to get to submit. But then the game was like, no, you could keep drawing it actually. Also, that was like your 3rd shirt, and that was the timer for the 2nd shirt. And the timers also felt longer too. I don't know. TKO was always a fun game that was kind of hard to play sometimes. Every once in a while, you'd get in that situation where it's like, oh, I drew something and it didn't work out, yada yada. That doesn't happen in TKO 2. And, you know, the final round's a bit different. They do a round-robin tournament instead of, like, a head-to-head with, like, gauntlets and such this time. So now it's just there's 2 shirts at the end of the first 2 rounds, and you just hash away to see for whichever one you and your friends think is funnier. It's a fun game. It's a fun game. It's probably the best game in the pack, honestly. It's an easy recommendation. I made a sequel for a reason, and it's so popular for another reason. But yeah, this one is very, very fun. Probably the best game in the pack. Next up, we have Time Jinx. Now, I didn't really care too much for this one when it was announced. I was like, okay, it'll be another alright trivia game, nothing more. But actually, we had a really fun time with it, and it might be my 2nd favorite trivia game in the entire Jackbox series, right behind Trivia Murder Party. That one's great. You guys need to play that one. I'll talk about the other ones some other time, like I said. But yeah, the reason why, honestly, it just comes down to how you answer the questions. Time Jinx. It's obviously a time travel based game, so the trivia is all history based. But you really only ever answer with number of years or like a specific year, you know? That's what always makes it exciting. It's very easy to get into because you kind of just like, okay, well, I'm always going to be within the ballpark of the guess. It's just how close do you get to that dead on arrival. You know, it's really hard to get it super accurate and be like 100% on the dot, but you're going to probably get pretty close and you're going to probably do well even if you have no idea what they're talking about. It's really fun. I honestly really like it. I want to play this one again ASAP. The only slight complaint, I guess, is the final half round. They do like rounds in these games, and this one has like a half bonus round they do at the end where instead it's like a future question, and now it's based on the future, which, you know, they'll always tie it back to something in the past. So like the example we got was like somebody was going to go on their 100th anniversary tour. What year would that be? And it's like, okay, it was this date because he was born in this year. I liked it. I thought it was fun. It was cute, but, you know, it didn't really amount to much score-wise, so it's like, why just put that in there? Usually the final rounds matter a lot, but it's also like, if that one mattered a lot, it would have been stupid. I liked it. I liked it regardless of all of that. And it is, honestly, one of the better games in the pack. Okay, so this next game, Fixie Text, this is... the second I saw this game, I was like, okay, this is going to be an absolute riot. I was like, this game is going to be a ton of stupid fun, and that's exactly what happened when we played it. Basically, the way the game works is that you are given a text. You are then given a response to the text, and a set of players from the group are just allowed to pick a spot from within the text to start editing from, and then they just begin typing whatever they want. Literally, you could just keep typing random garbage, and then the players who didn't type that session are going to vote on which words were funniest, and rinse and repeat until the end of the game. They throw in a few curveballs. It's so simple. It's so stupid. It's so fun. Again, if you and your friends know how to make each other laugh, this game is going to be a riot. This is, honestly, this and TKO 2 are just such easy wins in this pack. Really, it's It's so fun, honestly. I hate to keep this one brief, but that's all there is to it. It's just you play the game, you type in random crap. If you make each other laugh, you're going to love this one. And I think it might be the second best, if not the best game in the pack overall. Now, next up, we have Dodo Re Mi. This game, I heard about this and I was like, this is probably not going to work. So here's the thing. Jackbox games are primarily, games that use your phone because, well, you can't do a game where you have to type out stuff or draw things with a standard game controller. So it kind of, they play to the advantages of using a phone as a controller. But when you're just going to do like a rhythm game or an action game, I'm never really that interested. There was a game in Party Pack 5 called Zeeple Dome where you were supposed to fling these little dudes around an arena, and it sucked. The input delay was horrendous. It didn't play well. I just kind of said the same thing twice. It's not good. It wasn't good, and I was immediately worried this was going to be the same thing because a rhythm game with that kind of lag, awful. But they did find a workaround. They do a little singing practice at the start of each round. So basically, the guy will be like, time, and you'll just have to tap along with it. And lo and behold, you then just get the notes sent to your phone in sync with what you said was your accurate timing. All sound comes out of your phone, so the system never has to like read your sound to play it at the exact time. You have to turn your volume on for the game to work. It works. It's a rhythm game that is fine. It did not work for me. Some other friends had some troubles with it, but I'm going to blame that on their old phones. In fact, they did as well. So congratulations, Jackbox. It works, but it's still not that amazing, honestly. I don't think we're going to go back to it that often. I really doubt that we're going to be like, oh, dude, I want to play a fun rhythm game. Let's play the one Jackbox game where you can use fart noises. Like, no, we're going to play like Tycho or Donkey Konga because we want to use the funny bongos, I wouldn't call it the worst Jackbox game ever, but it's not like my kind of thing with Jackbox. I don't play Jackbox for games like this, but it works and it's functional. So you know what? That's better than I could say for most of the action-based games they put out. And last, but potentially least, was Hypnotorious. Now, I was curious about this game. Basically, it is a social deduction game, Among Us and some other Jackbox games come to mind, but nobody is given their full details. Basically, there is everybody's given roles. Everybody's hypnotized into playing these roles. They have to answer prompts accordingly, but they know their role, but everybody's kind of in a set of groups. However, there is one outlier. Now, the one outlier doesn't know that they're the outlier. So everybody has to figure out what their roles are, but they can't give them away. It's a bit odd. Like at some points the game was like you have to say what you are, but don't be obvious at all. Or you have to be super obvious about what you are, and it's like, why? When the game has to give you all these rules to play by that don't actually like factor into the rules of the game, it kind of gets it's a bit much. I don't know. And the game went on way too long as well. Like, we felt like we had played a whole round of this thing, and then they just said round 2. Like, we were like, what? Are you kidding me? 2 of the people playing with us actually straight up just sat out of the second round, which led to it being literally unplayable. We kind of just used it as an excuse to figure out how the game works a little bit better. Whether that's a testament of their stubbornness or the game's unenjoyability, lo and behold, hey, it happened. I really don't think it's commendable that was a thing that came up, but it was all right. It's one of those games where you really need to play it a few times to understand it, but it's so long and convoluted. It's like you're playing Jackbox. Why not just play the one we already know? Like, especially with this pack. There are so many quality games in this pack. I don't see us really ever going back to Hypnotorious, unfortunately. But if we do, it might be higher up on the rankings for this pack. We might end up finding something out of it, But yeah, that's Jackbox Party Pack 10. All in all, I did get a little negative for those last 2 games, but this is the most well-rounded pack by far in years. Like, those 2 games, Hypnotorious and Dodo Re Mi, leagues above the worst of Pack 9, Pack 8, even Pack 7, and maybe Pack 6, honestly. Like, this is a very, very solid pack. They really pulled out all the stops and threw out some of their best ideas on this party pack. And honestly, even though it is the most expensive by far, it's the only one that is 45 Canadian as opposed to the other ones, which were a little bit cheaper at least. I'd still highly recommend this one, honestly. Even if you're brand new to Jackbox, I think this is a great entry point. It's got very good drawing game, very funny, stupid game, and just, good trivia, and 2 other interesting games. It really has all of your bases covered for what you need to make a good Jackbox pack. And, it does everything very, very well. It's very commendable. I recommend this one. If you want a fun party game for the holidays and you're not getting WarioWare and all the other stuff that's coming out, this is it. You need this. You need this game. Highly recommend it. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's review. Keep yourselves cornered for more reviews, coverage like so, and I will see you guys very soon on the next video. Later.